I feel like a fucking celebrity in this town.
Celebrity. The state or fact of being well known, widely discussed, or publicly esteemed. Celebrities have existed as far back as ancient Greece, where athletes would be welcomed home with songs and poems written in their honor, celebrated as heroes and offered free food and gifts from those seeking endorsement from these heroes, these celebrities. You might say, polarizing. What does any of this have to do with gaming's first celebrity? And I'd say, mind your fucking business. No, I'm kidding. But what I would actually tell you is that when talking about gaming's first celebrity, I need to set a few ground rules for how I came to my conclusion and how I'm classifying certain elements. There are many video game characters who are famous, who are easily recognizable even to people who don't game, who have movies, TV shows, merchandise, comics, the list could go on. So, where's the separation? What makes this particular character different from the hundreds of other options? For me personally, it's the ability to not just push and sell your own merchandise or products, but also other brands' products, and to be talked about as if they were a real living, breathing person. Enter Lara Croft, someone you will be very familiar with if you watched my last video. Yes, it's another Lara Croft video. Sorry JRPG fans, the next video will be for you. I mentioned this in my prior video, great watch by the way fellas, highly recommend. Not biased of course, but Lara has a unique star power amongst video game characters that I've never really encountered elsewhere. I only mentioned this briefly, citing Lara's array of magazine covers, holding the record for appearing on the most magazine covers. The only person I could compare this to is Lightning from Final Fantasy XIII. Lightning was used in the 2016 Spring-Summer collection for Louis Vuitton, appearing on magazine covers and in some videos modeling the collection. Lightning also appears in a wicked sick Nissan commercial along with Snow. Though to be honest, it's barely an appearance. They are in the advert, sure, but only because the women in the commercial are putting on these virtual reality headsets, which probably shouldn't be driving with those. In the commercials Lara is featured in, she's physically there, she's present. But in comparison to Lara, it's kind of baby's first steps.
A female Indiana Jones character is about to make another fortune for a computer firm in Derby. The adventuress in question is Lara Croft, heroine of a video game that's already earned more than £100 million for her creators. But Lara's success is controversial. Is she the first independent female in the world of computer games, or just a virtual sex object?
The unfortunate thing about Lara's success is that some of it can be chalked up to Eidos over-sexualizing her in most of the marketing material. When revealing the game at E3, Eidos hired models for Gamers, TM, to stand and pose with for photos. The campaign was ultimately considered a huge success, and afterward they doubled down. This is something Eidos would continue to implement with each game, and as a kid I thought it was so fucking cool. I remember watching so much footage of E3 2005 or 6, I don't particularly remember which one, to see the live model for Tomb Raider Legend. They hired a model who was also a gymnast this time, and she was flipping about the place with dual pistols, and it was mind-blowing to younger me. As an adult, I would prefer to meet the voice actress behind Lara, but I didn't know any better as a kid, and probably thought the model was the voice actor. Instead of pushing the game via its revolutionary graphics and gameplay for the time, they would push the game using just Lara, upping the ante in terms of sex appeal of the character and how they'd use that in the marketing, even increasing her breast size. This is where we can see how the approach to marketing changed, even in this small detail. The game was no longer just Tomb Raider, it was Tomb Raider featuring Lara Croft. Tomb Raider starring Lara Croft, even though this was a brand new IP and Lara a brand new character, immediately positioning Lara as some form of celebrity. I have to hand it to Eidos, positioning Lara as a celebrity and global icon from the jump was fucking genius. The devs unfortunately did not agree, wanting the game to be pushed for its gameplay and graphics. Eidos had created these marketing materials without consulting the actual dev team, something Eidos would make a habit of, not just with marketing materials but with actual game releases too. An example of this would be when the devs negotiated extra time to work on Tomb Raider 3. You see, the devs had been pretty much constantly in crunch for the first two games, some practically living in the office just to get the games out in time. When they were approached to make Tomb Raider 3, the devs agreed to do so under the conditions they were given more time. Eidos agreed to this but said they would need something in the interim, so after a brief holiday for the lead devs, they came back to start work on Tomb Raider 2 DLC. The devs made not only visual improvements and animation improvements, but also because of how much the level editor had been developed over the course of these games, they had made even more complex levels, upgrading the engine the game ran on to accommodate for these changes. Eidos, when coming in for a review of the DLC, were very impressed with the advancements the devs had made, even stating that this could be a full release. The devs however wanted to keep this as DLC as they wanted longer to develop the third installment. Eidos, in classic fashion, ignored Core's wishes and actually announced this DLC as Tomb Raider 3, without consulting the dev team. Core found out at the same time as the general public for a press release. The devs were blindsided by the way Eidos chose to market the game, the creator and co-creator threatening to leave over how they had marketed Lara, which they ultimately did. Although I think Lara as a character and Tomb Raider as a game were more than strong enough to stand on their own without resorting to this kind of strategy, it is hard to deny that it worked. Lara was everywhere now. TV commercials, magazines, sit-down interviews, she was spoken about in news broadcasts. Even having a documentary made about her. Yes, it's titled Tomb Raider Lethal Unloaded, but just listen to the way they speak about Lara.
Lara Croft is the heroine of Tomb Raider, one of the most successful computer games of all time. With 26 million copies sold to date, Lara Croft is richer than the Queen of England. She's appeared on more magazine covers than a supermodel. The advertising industry can't get enough of her. The government used Lara to promote British technology across the world.
They speak about her as if she's a real person and talk about her accomplishments as if they were her own and not that of core design. They even have this professor here speaking as if she was a real student at the school he teaches at.
When I hear the name Lara Croft, the very first thing that always comes to my mind is the Gordonston School motto. Plus est en vous, there is more in you than you think, because I'm sure that wherever she is in the world, whatever she is doing, that is what is going through her mind as she meets new challenges. There is more in you than you think. She was slightly before my time, but in fact she was here probably in the mid-1980s, so although her reputation lived on, I hadn't had the opportunity to meet her personally.
Also, quick sidebar, Prodigy's album got delayed because they were obsessed with playing Tomb Raider. What do you mean? The fact that Prodigy of all groups' albums got delayed by Lara Croft is just so bonkers. Lara was taking the world by storm.
When The Fat of the Land, an album by The Prodigy, had its release delayed, who was to blame? Lara Croft.
There was, obviously there was phone calls every day of how's it going and stuff like that. The managing director of it, he used to ring all the time. At the end of the day, if he told him it was going all right, then that was cool. Yeah, as far as he was concerned, we were in the studio, but we weren't. We were dabbling with Lara Croft.
I tried to find out where this originally aired, but the wiki just says it was broadcasted on the UK's channel, so who the fuck knows what that is? I guess BBC? For anyone who is interested in watching the documentary, you can find it on YouTube pretty easily these days. Lara was now being used to not push only her own video games, action figures, magazines and movies, she was also being used to sell cars, wedding dresses, energy drinks. Lara was even used for a Visa credit card advert, which is an insane watch by the way. And a lot of these weren't always for the benefit of Tomb Raider, at least not in the way most brand crossovers work in the current year. I couldn't find any other video game character who was used like this, who was pushed like this, who was positioned like this. Sure, other characters have been used in brand crossovers before. Master Chief from Halo had a Monster Energy drink collab, but that went as far as him being on the can, and ultimately there was a benefit to buying the drink, being able to redeem an in-game reward. Lara's adverts and magazine covers didn't have that. Her star power alone was reason enough for companies to want her pushing their products. And I just think it's fucking bonkers for a well-established video game character to get a brand crossover or an advert, let alone a brand new IP. There are other examples of video game characters being a spokesperson in the way that Master Chief has, but very rarely in the way that Lara had. The most recent example I can think of that compares to Lara is Street Fighter's Guile being used as the spokesperson for J-Gel, a hair gel. Checks out. Checks out. Complete with a full interview and photo shoot. And from what I can tell, there are no in-game rewards or bonuses for getting the hair gel, but that still doesn't hit the scale of Lara Croft. I also managed to find a commercial featuring Sonic the Hedgehog for this insurance company. You can actually find this on Sega's YouTube channel. Interestingly enough, Uncharted got a Subway TV spot. However, the advert does consist of Nathan telling us that we can win exclusive access to Uncharted 3 as well as epic trips, once again dishing out a reward for participating in the advertisement campaign. There are a few characters who have done similar things to Lara, but never in the abundance or scale that she has achieved. Lara has been asked to do a sit-down interview on multiple occasions, 2 of them being in 1997, a year after the very successful launch of the original Tomb Raider, and approaching the release of Tomb Raider 2. And again, I have to give it to Eidos. Their marketing worked like a charm. Lara was being talked about and talked to, as if she were a real living, breathing person. We can see this in an interview with Hyperworld. How does it make you feel having your exploits immortalized in a computer game? The closest I'd come to in any involvement with computers was playing Pong on my friend's old Atari. So when Core Design approached me about appearing in an adventure game based on my travels, I just couldn't resist. I worked closely with the Tomb Raider team, and they relayed my experiences quite brilliantly. I mean, they even incorporated many of my unique characteristics and certain physical attributes into the game. You can tell a bunch of lads designed it, and as for the attention, I can't believe it. I've been on the front covers of loads of magazines. They can't seem to say enough good things about me. It's all very flattering. They are speaking about Lara and to Lara, about her accomplishments as if it's all real, and I think that speaks massively to just how infatuated people were with Lara, but also as to how well the marketing was working. Lara speaks as if she consulted on the game as a real person, giving them in-depth insight into her personal adventures. Everything about this is just really cool. We can also see Lara here plugging one of the brands she's a spokesperson for in this interview with GameSpot back in 1999. What's your favourite drink these days? No time for champagne. I really need to keep a clear head considering the nature of the task in hand. Lukewarm bottled water's not up to much, but it's the only thing available. Food and drink is the last thing on my mind right now. But LucasAid should definitely tap the Egyptian market, if only for the sake of the camels. They could certainly use a boost. What an insane segue into a sponsor. I kind of love it though, just for the sheer audacity of it all. Some of these interview answers are also just an insane read, so I highly recommend you take a look. But as a treat, we'll look at one right now. What's your most embarrassing moment? Probably when I forgot to swap my own guns in a game of paintball. Although really there was of course no one left to be embarrassed in front of. Jesus Christ, Lara, what the fuck? Also, this paper advertisement featuring Lara and Guts from the anime Berserk, put out by Game Dealer. I didn't know where to put this, but just thought it was funny. Also, I highly doubt you could make an advertisement like this in today's time. People would get so butthurt. They'd be like, no, she totally wants to fuck me. She totally wants to fuck me. Losers.
Want a break from the ads? Want a break from the ads?
Want a break from the ads? Want a break from the ads?
The commercials that Lara was cast in varied quite a bit in terms of length and scope, but also product types. It seemed that Lara could be used to market almost anything. Commercials and advertisements back in the 90s/early 2000s were insane, especially when it came to video games, but we hadn't quite seen a video game character push other products not related to them. Especially not in the capacity Lara had been positioned to do. Yes, there is technically cross-promotion. Lara just being there does promote the Tomb Raider brand, but in many cases not even really showing off the game and just focusing mainly on the actual brand being pushed in that commercial. This commercial was meant to be a cross-promotion for G4 and Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness, but they never show gameplay. Hell, the only thing they're really promoting from the game is Lara's character model. This commercial is also done in the form of a sit-down interview, and rather than asking questions about the game, they ask questions about Lara, once again treating her like a celebrity, someone the public are curious about and want to know more about.
Do you consider yourself a star?
I'm the same girl I've always been.
You don't sound surprised about your popularity.
I've been deeply involved in the gaming community for years. It's where my biscuits buttered, so to speak.
This interview is also fucking unhinged, but I kind of love it.
Clive Gallagher. He used to call me Lara Beanstalk. I'd run home crying and he'd just laugh.
Sure he's not laughing now?
No, he'd just follow me around and look at my bottom.
Are men only interested in you because of your body?
No. I'm rich too, darling.
I'm rich too, darling. How can you not love her? Even when Lara is advertising her own game, it's not really gameplay focused. It more feels like Lara is doing a press junket for the game instead. This commercial is in German, so I have no idea what she's saying, but she's definitely talking about the game. I mean, they even have her up on a podium showcasing the product. Let's take a look at some of the examples I mentioned earlier in reference to the types of products Lara was pushing. Alright, brace yourself for some rocky pronunciation, guys. It's gonna be rough, but we're gonna get through it. This commercial was for Seat, a Spanish car manufacturer. Here we can see Lara on the run from a T-Rex when suddenly she spawns a Cordoba Vario. Must have pulled that out of her bottomless bag. Lara floors it, driving onto a pier and pulling a 180 handbrake precision stop, and then launches out of the boot on a jet ski, escaping to what looks like Greece? That's right, fellas, there were multiple of these commercials that had a vague storyline showing off different variations of this car. I just can't recall ever seeing this done with other video game protagonists, especially when this commercial isn't even for their own game or brand. Take these Lucozade ads for example. This particular ad campaign had not only multiple parts, but a good ending. And a bad ending. What company is going out of their way to do this for a cross-promotion campaign these days? The answer is nobody. They're slapping the character on the side of a can or bottle and calling it a day in most cases. To be fair, the Tomb Raider franchise has always had a very good relationship with the Lucozade Energy brand, but even that is just deeply impressive to me. In this set of Lucozade commercials featuring Lara Croft, we have a gamer, TM, playing not a Tomb Raider game, but for the sake of this commercial, a Tomb Raider game. The gamer, TM, pauses and walks away from the console. We then enter the game world with Lara as she takes a well-deserved break, sharing a Lucozade with the very camp man who was pursuing her.
Particle, Bobby! I'll give you woof woof.
Also, love this diva over here. I'll give you woof woof. Put him in a game, I love him. For this advert there weren't multiple parts so far as a storyline, but the people behind the ad did make bloopers for this commercial, which is just so much fun. I feel like we never get stuff like this anymore. Bring back 90s/early 2000s advertising, please. I am on my hands and knees begging. Bring it back.
Ooh, Lucozade. Oh, Barticus. Oh, you cheeky little monkey.
I think that this speaks to how much people enjoyed Lara, and quite clearly also her very camp friend and his two dogs. Lara didn't even get any dialogue. I'm slowly realizing in real time that this is because they didn't hire a voice actor for the ad. Once again, women being silenced in a male-dominated field. I'm with her. The next ad sees Lara fighting off Whispers from Final Fantasy VII Remake before she runs out into the street. A shop window catches her attention. Inside a wedding dress, Lara, infatuated with this dress, presses herself up against the window for some reason.
Immer überraschend, wie Frauen eben sind.
Who's this effort for? Lara is kind of freaky because she didn't have to do all of that. I still can't be certain that this is an advertisement for wedding dresses because we never actually get a brand name. I feel like this probably isn't the full commercial. Editing polarizing here. I have found out that this was actually a commercial made for Brigitte, a German women's magazine, and I'm gonna continue to say that this was for a wedding dress company, but just know that it's not. Anyway, back to not editing me. Also, using Lara, a British gaming icon, to advertise your German bridal dress company? The diva is international.
Hey! Did I lie? Did I fucking lie?
The text we see at the end roughly translates to "always surprising, how women are," or something to that effect. Make of that what you will. This ad unfortunately does kind of break that curated attitude they were developing for Lara, not only in the games but also through the rest of her marketing. In Lara's original backstory, she broke off a marriage so that she could exterminate endangered or previously thought extinct wildlife. No, I'm just kidding. She broke it off so she could travel and experience that thrill of discovery and adventure. So her oogling these wedding dresses like she's about to bust seems rather out of character. Guess what, guys? Lara didn't have just one drink deal. She had two, this time with Beppis. This ad was clearly very heavily inspired. Inspired seems generous. They basically just ripped the scene from the Angelina Jolie movie. But pretty impressive they replicated the scene for this commercial. Anyway, we see not Angelina Jolie weaving through these CGI warriors on a motorcycle, taking out one of them as she passes by, swiping them with the bike. She turns and then leaps onto a rope, executing a very cool flip for her dismount and landing. Oh no. As she lands, a stone warrior slices open her bag, unleashing a bottle of Beppis. The stone warriors flock towards the sweet nectar, all crumbling as they race each other to the ambrosia, Pepsi. This commercial was aimed at getting people to go and see the new Tomb Raider movie, but also promoted a contest to win a PlayStation 2, only mentioning the game in passing. Again, it feels like a lot of companies and brands couldn't wait to have Lara advertise their product in some way, shape or form. Okay, before we take a look at the last commercial I want to show you, let me take you back in time to earlier on in this video, where I spoke about some of the sit-down interviews. When asking Lara about how it feels to have her exploits immortalized in a video game, Lara mentions that she hadn't really played many games besides playing Pong on her friend's old Atari. When I read this, it was like my sleeper agent key phrase activated. I had my Winter Soldier moment then and there. I remembered coming across this really bizarre commercial in the early stages of researching my last video actually, not even this video. Let's take a look.
I am sci-fi.
In this commercial, Lara is playing Pong. She then gets so mad from losing, she gets up and kicks the TV down off its stand, proclaiming that she is sci-fi. Literally no idea what this fucking means or what this was for, but it made me laugh a lot, so I'm here for it. Also, very relatable queen. I get tilted easily too. Anyway, the point of me mentioning this and why this was a big deal to me is because when I read this interview, I was stoked because it shows such attention to detail. There was a conscious effort to curate a certain attitude and experience that Lara had. It shows that the marketing team were very aware of stuff they had done before and almost created a continuity for some of those commercials or a storyline that had continued outside of them, if you ignore the wedding dress commercial. Now I have no real way of knowing whether this was deliberate or which came first, the interview or the commercial, but even if it was just a coincidence, it's a fucking stupid one and I love it. I don't think you could really call it a commercial. Still not sure what the purpose of the clip is, but if anyone knows, please share. Okay, now let's take a look at the last commercial I'll be showing today. When I first watched this commercial, I honestly had no idea what it was for. I think I was just so taken in with the production value of it all, so I'm going to take you through it how I experienced it without telling you what the commercial was for. It's diabolically easy to spot, so I'm sure many of you will find it. Apparently my passive perception is just fucking terrible. Comment below at what point you figured out what brand this is for. You can leave a timestamp below if you want, and if you don't know how to do that, just describe the specific part of the trailer where you figured it out. We open to a woman in a large coat, kind of reminiscent of the one used in the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider film, entering, I guess, what is a game store? Though the shelves are just stacked with old CRTs. Not sure who the shop is for. Anywho, she purchases the latest Tomb Raider game at the time, Angel of Darkness, and leaves post-haste. We cut to the woman playing the game. I say playing, it's a CGI trailer, there is no real gameplay. Whilst I do miss the camp insane adverts of the 90s/early 2000s, I'm glad we do actually see gameplay for games now rather than just CGI trailers. The classic moving the controller violently to show how hard you're playing the game. As you can see, Lara is being chased by an ancient beast, I guess? She makes her final leap to freedom, grabbing onto a rope, but unable to open the sealed door. Meanwhile, in the real world, Sofia Vergara throws Lara a credit card, I guess. Lara pays the fee for the door and escapes. Did Angel of Darkness predict paywalling in-game content? After virtual Lara escapes to her manor, we then hear a pounding coming from the real Lara's manor. The beast has somehow followed Lara into the real world and chases her down through the library. Lara, Sofia Vergara, using her acrobatic prowess, flips and dodges, leaps and swings to higher ground. Virtual Lara being kicked about in all the commotion. Lara, Sofia Vergara, is backed into a corner by the beast. Virtual Lara seeing this throws the credit card back at the screen. I assume saving the day? Ultimately revealing that this was a commercial for Visa Japan, so congrats if you managed to guess. It's technically a cross promotion for AOD and Visa, but I'll let you off if you just guessed Visa. It's pretty blatant the first time the card is thrown into the game, but I just never paid attention to the logo the first time I watched it. This advert caught me off guard. It felt a step above the rest with how high the production value seemed. I also had no idea this was Sophia until it was pointed out to me by a friend. Maybe I do have face blindness. In case you don't know who Sophia is, first of all, diva, love her. She went on to star in one of my favourite TV shows, Modern Family. It's very stupid cringe humour, but I love it.
Put them down and walk away.
You know, Gloria.
She's done a lot more than that, but that's mostly what I know her for. That's all of the commercials we'll be taking a look at for today. There are a few more that you can go and look at if you so desire, but these were some of my favourites. I long for the halcyon days where Lara was the most popular video game character. She was on top of the world. I feel that lately the brand has taken a bit of a beating. Lara will always be a cultural icon. That will never be up for debate, but I do worry she could fade to the background for some time if her next outing isn't up to scratch. I think it's safe to say we'll never see advertising campaigns like this again. With how expensive productions are now, I can't see brands being eager to fork out that kind of money and that kind of time, or putting as much effort into productions as they did back then. I think unfortunately advertising plays it very safe these days, though I would love to be proven wrong. I think the reason the marketing for Tomb Raider worked so well is because we still had that separation between celebrity and consumer, celebrity and influencer. There was an air of mystery that surrounds those who had great stardom back then, and it made people want to know more about the stars in these projects rather than just the projects themselves. Because of the way Eidos marketed and pushed Lara, this also happened for her. Many of Lara's interviewers only talk about her, ask questions about her tastes and what she's doing outside of the adventures within the games. Lara really achieved stardom. She became a real celebrity. She was everywhere, from sit-down interviews to news broadcasters talking about her, adverts for other brands and companies, magazine covers, video games, action figures, the list goes on. Both men and women alike loved Lara and admired her strength, wit and tenacity, among other things. Lara Croft transcended being a video game protagonist and became a cultural icon. I don't think any other character has replicated that level of stardom since, and I honestly don't think they ever will. Alright, I'm gonna call it that. If you like video essays, stick around, I have more coming, and if you like Tomb Raider, then I have good news for you. I recently put out a video essay about Tomb Raider. If Tomb Raider isn't your speed, I also have one about Final Fantasy 16. I don't know when the next video will be out, but I promise it's coming. Until then, I also stream when the sun isn't air frying me in my room, so come hang out. If you feel like I'm a new IP you'd like to do a sit down interview with, come do that over on Twitch. And if you feel like a celebrity, have your private security beat the shit out of the subscribe button and the bell button. Anyway, that's all from me guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.